Let's talk more about childhood. Again, we started off talking about this experience with bankruptcy in the family as a child. Talk about how these early childhood experiences can form how we handle money later on in life, and specifically how that experience, I know you're really young at the time, but coming out of that, how did that impact you later on and maybe even still today?
Yeah, I think how you grew up is huge. I call it your money classroom because your classroom is your household growing up. You learned lessons about every area of life. Some lessons you wish you could probably unlearn, some lessons you take with you into adulthood. And so you have to realize how much this shapes you from whether your parents talked about money or didn't, whether it was a stressful subject in the home or a really calm, peaceful one. It shapes who you are. So you either subconsciously do exactly what your parents did out of just that's what you know, you're mirroring it, where I talk to a lot of people and they do the exact opposite. They say, my parents were like this and I'm doing this. My parents were really cheap and never spent money. And now I just want to enjoy life because they never enjoyed life. Or I remember talking to one person in an interview for this book, and she said, yeah, my parents were so obsessed with everything looking perfect on the outside, but our home life was a mess. But like we had the best cars and the best clothes, and they always make sure that was all looking good. And so now she's just like, I'll drive a Honda Civic for the rest of my life. Like I want healthy relationships. I don't care about the stuff, like, so it's different how people really take it in, but your viewpoint of money, it is very much shaped by how you grew up. So to understand that going back to your childhood is really important to say, okay, here's how I grew up with money. And here are the things that I'm seeing in my life that I'm either fearful of, I'm avoiding, or I'm actually copying what my parents did.
And specifically, what would that look like to really get in there and start that work?
Yeah, I mean, in the book, I outline these four money classrooms, and so money's communicated in two ways. It's communicated verbally, so it's either open communication, closed communication, and it's communicated emotionally. It's either stressed or calm. So it ends up making these four quadrants. So that first quadrant is the anxious money classroom, and this is where you grew up if it was verbally closed and emotionally stressed. So you grew up, you didn't really know what was going on, but man, you felt the tension around money. Number two is the unstable money classroom. And this is where it's verbally open, but emotionally stressed. So lots of conflict, lots of fighting. You may have heard your parents had the same fight over and over again. They could have fought with extended family about money, but like you heard it. The third money classroom is the unaware money classroom. So this is emotionally calm, but verbally closed. So your head was probably in the sands with money. You didn't really think about it much because it wasn't a thing. It wasn't talked about. It was just like, oh, yeah, that's just what it is. Okay. And then the fourth money classroom is definitely the healthiest. And this is the secure money classroom. So this is where it's verbally open and emotionally calm. And in this classroom, you don't have to have a ton of money to be in there. You could have $10 or 10 million, but there's a plan around it. There's agreements. If you're married with your spouse, like, okay, this is what we're doing. And it's talked about. It's not a taboo subject. It's something that you're willing to engage in with your kids. So that fourth money classroom is the healthiest. My prayer is that everyone moves to that classroom in their present. But looking back at your childhood to say, okay, this is how I grew up, one of those four money classrooms, because they all have weaknesses.